everybody. It's so nice to see you again today. Welcome to the Idea Networking Sessions, and my name is Sharon Chaden Burks. I am a senior instructional designer for Sinclair Community College. Before that, I taught English as a second language in higher education for 13 years before I switched to the current line of work that I do, and that transition happened in 2019. I've been doing these sessions for the last 5 years. I did not plan to do that. I've just been doing it every month because people are still interested and people still share their time. So it's just a nice thing to do for everyone. I am really happy to bring two new guest speakers to you today. We have Ashley Solano and Emily Larin to share their experiences with us. And I also have another AI tip slash hack slash thing I've been working on to show you as well. I am ready to pass it over to Ashley, and I'm going to spotlight you, Ashley, and I'm going to mute myself, and we will hear your story. All ready to go.
Okay, perfect. Thanks so much. So hi everyone. It's lovely to be with you all, even if it's virtual. I am Ashley Solano, and thanks for having me and letting me share a little bit about my learning journey. If anyone here has gone through a big career change, or if you're thinking about it, you know that transition can be tough. It takes a lot of time, patience, and a lot of reflection. So, my journey from teaching to instructional design has been slow and steady, but honestly, I think that's what helped make it more meaningful. So, I started teaching third grade. I taught for 5 years and I loved working with the kids. There's just something so rewarding. I know it's cliche, but it's true when you have those light bulb moments. It's what every teacher talks about, why they love what they do. But over time, what I really loved doing was planning teaching, designing lessons and creating activities, experimenting with different ways to help kids engage and learn. So back in undergrad, I did an honors research project on gamification and how we use game-like elements to make learning more engaging. So that project really shaped my approach to teaching. I love building in friendly competition and points and themes and classroom transformations and other creative ways to motivate students to engage in learning. So even then, I was kind of dabbling in instructional design without realizing it. And around my fourth year of teaching, my husband and I decided it was my turn to go back to school. He just finished his master's, and I was thinking about getting mine. We've kind of been taking turns with degrees, not intentionally, but just how it's worked out. He's currently on his PhD, and I'm not quite sure I'm going to follow in his footsteps just yet. But I ended up going to Boston University for my master's. And there are a few reasons. One, I had a professor that went to BU and loved it and always talked about good things. So that's why I looked into it in the first place. Two, I grew up in Ohio and did all my schooling in Ohio and really wanted something different, even if I couldn't physically move there. And third, the program was really flexible. So I could take a variety of courses. I could take courses from other schools within BU, which was great for my interests. So I started my master's. I loved it. Every class made me really excited about the possibilities beyond the classroom. And I found myself thinking, I really enjoy this work of designing learning more than teaching in the traditional sense. So by the end of that school year, I knew I needed to explore other paths. And honestly, a big push came from talking with teachers who were just 10 or 15 years ahead of me in their careers. They were great teachers, but they were really burnt out, counting down the days and the years to retirement. It was kind of like a standing joke. And so I remember thinking, I'm really young in my career. I'd only been teaching 4 years at that point, and I didn't want to feel that way in 10 years. I still wanted to enjoy what I did and enjoy coming to work. And so I decided I needed to make a change while I still have the energy and the curiosity to explore something new. So around that time, I heard about instructional design. I didn't know much about it at first. So I joined Allie Parrish's teacher transition course to learn more. I don't think that course is essential for teachers who want to make the transition, but for me at that time, it was really helpful to see how my teaching experience translated into instructional design skills and to learn about the different software tools. It gave me language for what I was already doing, and the resources were really good for building a foundation. If I had known about this course, I would have been coming to these webinars as well. But even though that course, it didn't really help me land a job, it just kind of gave me a sense of direction and confidence to keep going. So as I did more research, I discovered that learning and development often is under the HR umbrella, which I didn't really realize before. So that opened a whole new perspective for me. I thought maybe my way into the field isn't through a traditional education route, it could be through HR. But I'll be honest, trying to explain what I wanted to do to other people was really hard when they asked, like, okay, you don't want to teach, like, what kind of job are you looking for? Because there's so many different titles at every job, it's called something different. So, instructional designer, curriculum designer, training specialist, learning consultant, training and development manager, the list goes on. And I try to describe it. And so then people would say, so you want to teach adults? And I'd say, kind of, but not exactly. I want to do a little bit more of the behind the scenes training. A friend of mine works at an insurance brokerage that collaborated a lot with HR departments. And he said, hey, you might like this company, could be a good foot in the door. I went for an interview, loved the team, decided to take the leap. And it was a really valuable move, a great introduction to the corporate world. I learned a lot more about insurance, more than I ever thought I would. But the best part was working closely with the HR professionals at small companies. And I quickly realized that small company HR folks wear a lot of hats. So they leaned on us for everything from open enrollment presentations to educating employees about benefits. And that's when I started creating internal training resources for our own team. And I realized this is exactly what I want to be doing. I loved helping people understand something complicated in a way that made sense and sometimes even fun. So after a couple of years in that role, really started feeling ready for the next chapter. And I still had this pull towards training and development and wanted to use my master's degree and really focus on creating learning experiences again. So I started freelancing, and my husband's been a great supporter through all of this. He connected me with some people who needed help with presentations and trainings. And so I started taking on some projects. And before long, I had a small portfolio that really represented different types of instructional design work. So some were from my master's program, some things were from that teacher transition course, and then others were freelance or passion projects that I'd built more recently. But even with the portfolio, my job search wasn't easy. I was looking for hybrid roles and I was not getting many bites. People told me it was a tough time to apply. I was getting really frustrated, felt like I was doing everything right. I was trying to network and apply, posting, engaging online, making sure my portfolio looks great. And then came the funny part. So my company noticed that I had learning desire in my LinkedIn headline, and they asked me to change it because it made it look like I was in HR or training, which could confuse clients. So I took that feedback, but instead of deleting it, I got creative and decided to make it official and launched Ashley Solano Designs. So I listed my freelance projects under that brand to keep it separate from my full-time work, and just posting that on my LinkedIn and separating it, the floodgates open. So within weeks, I was getting messages about interviews and getting more interest in what I was doing. So it's kind of like I was being held back until I created a separate identity for my instructional design work. And then I looked official or something. So just that small tweak made a really big difference. So fast forward to today, I'm now a training specialist in an HR department at a law firm. I handle onboarding for new employees and I lead training initiatives across the firm. One of my biggest projects right now is building a leadership curriculum and really kind of getting everybody all on the same page, which is fun. I'm designing a training calendar for next year. I'm doing a lot of storyboarding and I'm doing a lot of collaborating with subject matter experts across departments. And since I'm the only person focused on training at our company, I've kind of become like a one-woman training consultancy within the firm. So I meet with teams to learn about their goals, their pain points, and then I help them design learning solutions that are practical and hopefully enjoyable as well. My background in teaching has helped me so much with time management and communication, and understanding that training might be my top priority, but it's not everyone else's. So I always try to create experiences that respect people's time, but also feel relevant to their work. And looking back, my transition wasn't fast or linear like some of the stories that you hear, but I wouldn't trade it. Every step, the classroom years, grad school, the insurance world, and freelancing really helped me to build layers of experience that have helped me and have continued to come back over and over. I've learned the value of patience and persistence and staying open to where your skills can take you. So, if anyone here is in that in between stage, maybe you love parts of your current job, but feel that itch for something new or want to leave the classroom, trust that the slow path can still lead somewhere great. As we all know, slow and steady wins the race, and that's been true for my story and maybe yours as well.
I really love that, Ashley. Nicely said. All right, Emily, are you ready?
Yeah, so thank you, Sharon, for inviting me. For the folks here in the call, I used to attend these sessions back when I was exploring instructional design. So it's really nice to be on the other side of it and have this opportunity to share my experiences with you all. So very much like what Ashley was saying, I also want to echo it. The fact that you all are here in this call today and are interested in learning about making a career transition to instructional design is very exciting and it's really cool. And I'm glad that you all are here and open to learning about our experiences with being able to make that pivot. So let's see, with me, I would say my journey with instructional design began back when I was in graduate school, around like 2016. What I studied was in college counseling and student development. So based on the title, like there's no mention of instructional design or training in it. But I did take some courses that are foundational to instructional design. So adult learning theory, being able to create curriculum and training programs for college students. And it was those classes that were the most fun and interesting for me to take. And so while I was in this program, I had worked in various types of institutions within higher ed, some four-year universities, but my longest stint was at a community college. So I was there from, I want to say like 2017 to most recently as of last year. And I had initially started working as a career slash academic advisor and counselor. So I did do a lot of like one-on-one advising, but within that job, I also got to facilitate workshops. And I found that that was the one aspect of the job that I really enjoyed doing the most. So kind of like what Ashley was sharing, right? Being able to facilitate engaging activities that feel relevant to our learners, our students, and in ways in which they can apply it to their academic and their career goals. That was what I really enjoyed doing the most. And it was actually through that experience that I was able to transition from a career advisor role into an adjunct instructor. So I started teaching our guidance courses or our counseling courses that are meant to orient new students into the college environment. And this transition actually happened in 2020, so like right before COVID hit. So because of that, I had to quickly pivot to learn how to teach online. So I learned how to utilize Canvas LMS. So for those of you who who have worked in higher ed, who have maybe have had some experience using the tool, you know what I'm talking about. So being able to do that, being able to facilitate Zoom sessions, kind of like how we're doing here, as well as creating online asynchronous activities, that was what I got hands-on training. And I really enjoyed doing that as well. I really enjoyed being able to create material that, again, is relevant, but that also takes into consideration where people are at with their journey, as well as their access to technology and things like that. So I had done that, and then I after like about a year or so of doing adjunct teaching, I reflected on what it is that I wanted to do outside of higher ed. And so I was exploring what my options looks like, and I landed at a tech boot camp where I had a dual role where I was both a career coach and also an instructor. So very similar work to what I was doing at the community college with teaching these guidance courses, but the audience would be or were adult learners. So adult learners like you guys here in this room who are looking to make a career transition. This specific group, though, they were interested in tech careers. So like software engineering, UX design, data science. And so I was, again, primarily responsible for doing one-on-one advising, but I also did some instructor-led facilitation. I also got to design some activities and lessons that helped these folks be able to break into tech. So I did that from like 2022 to like 2024. And it was during that time period that again I went through that reflection period of, all right, what is it that I want to do next? And I was doing my research into related areas like learning and development, training and development, instructional design, and very much like Ashley, like it was a slow burn process because there's so much to learn about the ways in which you can break into the field. Obviously, you know, you want to be able to demonstrate things like portfolio pieces or projects that you've done on the job to show that you're qualified. And so it was during that time period that I, had the opportunity to work on projects like making curriculum updates for our for a career counseling component of our program, as well as doing some upskilling like with articulate storyline. And right when I was like getting into the thick of preparing for this career transition, my department and I got laid off. So this was like last year. Yeah, it's like last year, like early 2024. And so I feel like that, while it was unfortunate, it accelerated my desire, or it accelerated this timeline into me wanting to break into instructional design because of the fact that I was now unemployed and I had all this free time. I was like really ready to 100% dedicate the time and the energy to make that career transition happen. And like Ashley, I also enrolled in an instructional design course. I did Tim Slade's academy, which I highly recommend. His courses and the projects that we work on, they're very practical. They're very much relevant to the current trends in instructional design right now. And just the way that he guides and explains to us like how instructional design looks like in the real world was just information that was really valuable for me in my growth. And I feel like it's what ultimately helped me be able to break into the field. And let's see, throughout that period when I was, making the career transition happen, looking for work, this is all throughout 2024. It was a lot of ups and downs, right? So I would say the highs were being able to create a sample course using articulate storyline, being able to get started with my portfolio, getting calls on interviews. But then the low points would be when I would get rejected or if I would not hear anything on my applications. So it went in waves. And I stayed consistent throughout the whole process, even if I would hear, if I got silence or if I would hear a no, I still kept working on my upskilling and being able to fill in those gaps. And what ultimately led me to the position that I have right now, I would attribute it to my LinkedIn profile. So early this year, I had the hiring manager, who is my now manager, come across my profile, and he was really impressed with the training and facilitation experience that I have, as well as creating asynchronous learning experiences. And when I was going through the interviews with him and the team, their focus or their priority right now is to be able to transform the current curriculum that they have, which is primarily instructor-led training, into one that is self-paced, asynchronous e-learning, as well as be able to create interventions that are going to help people learn on the job and be able to use it just in time. And I feel like that really aligns well with my philosophy of instructional design, and that you want to be able to create materials that are engaging, but that's also going to be useful and relevant to the employees that you are training. And so I went through the whole interview rounds. I created a sample course of a type of training that I would create. I did scenario-based type of learning, which the team really seemed to like, since they're trying to move away right from information dumps and be able to create experiences that are going to help people apply the skills on the job. And so because of the fact that I demonstrated those techniques in my sample course, I feel like that ultimately was what got me to that yes. And yeah, for the past 6 months, I've been working at a credit union as their senior learning experience designer. And I've really been enjoying the experience so far, getting to understand the financial lingo and learning the products and the services that we offer. I think the fact that I also like learning about personal finance, I just think it makes the materials that I create much more engaging. And yeah, I've definitely learned a lot from these past 6 months that I've been here. So again, what Ashley was sharing about working with a small company, our credit union is very small. It's like we have like 300 employees. So I've also found that I've worn multiple hats, right? And not only creating our materials, but also managing the LMS, and then just working on some side projects with our other subject matter experts. So yeah, I'm really, fortunate that I was able to make the jump, and want to just echo what Ashley was saying, right? In that it takes time, it takes persistence, it takes patience. But as long as put in the effort, and you also have that belief in yourself that you can make that happen, that you can accomplish your goals, then it's not even a matter of if, but it's just a matter of when.
Excellent. I wholeheartely agree. There's been so many people that have come to these sessions and have sent me messages later and said that it finally happened.
Right.
It takes some time. I mean, I can probably think of at least between 5 and 10 people that's happened to them in the last year. So it's
Nice.
definitely, it does take time. All right, we are at a good place to pause and do some breakout rooms. Okay, welcome back, everybody. Before we get into what I had to share with you, my demo, I want to let you know that our next time that we are meeting is December 2nd, 7 p.m., and you can register at the link in the chat if you want to make sure that is on your calendar. December 2nd. Always 7 to 8 Eastern. Emily did let me know that she may need to head out early. So in case we miss you, Emily, thank you for being here. I want to make sure you hear me say that. And I'm going to quickly talk about what I want to talk about before we do whole group Q&A. Okay, so something that I have been working on in the last so I was asked on October 7th, and it was done about 3 weeks later. And I was asked to help our Sinclair faculty who are struggling with transitioning from, let me back up. There are now web browser add-ons like Perplexity Comet that you can get in your browser that will log into your LMS to complete your quiz for you without you ever having to do a thing. And we became aware of this in the last month, and we wanted to provide a training to faculty about how to pivot away from traditional multiple choice assessments that are AI vulnerable. So I volunteered as tribute to make something for our faculty, and this is what I came up with. I came up with a RISE course that has 4 parts, kind of guiding faculty from understanding what AI vulnerable is all the way to building an AI resilient authentic assessment. And some of the things that I've built in here are I used AI to build. So for example, this guy here, my Bloom busters, classify that task. I do not code. I know the very basics, but I was able to create this. Let me just show how it works. Execute lab steps. Maybe apply. Yay, it works. So it's to help you figure out what level of Bloom's taxonomy. Did I get it wrong? Evaluate. Yay! To make sure that you understand what level your task or your learning objective is measuring. So how did I create that? I had a process. How did I create this whole thing? The first thing that I did was I did create with AI. It's a new tool in Articulate, and it made the bones of this whole thing. And then I went back through as a user and I started personalizing all of it. I would create a prompt in Chat GPT and then bring that prompt. Here's a prompt that I fleshed out in Chat GPT to create. This is a different learning thing that I made, but it's a quick demo. Regular and substantive interaction reality check, a learning game. So I brought the prompt over in here into Canva AI, and I went through a couple iterations, and here is what it created. Little game, basically a sorting task. So just a quick formative assessment to figure out if they can do it or if they know our regular substantive interaction or not. Let me get one wrong. Oh, not good. Okay. So at the end, it gives them a score. So what you do then is you take this code, copy the whole code, and then you can put it in a block in here, a code block, and it will load your object into that. Pretty cool. So this whole thing took me about 2.5 to 3 weeks to make. I would say about 25 hours. And in the past, if you've ever done something like this, you kind of know that that is a crazy fast development, especially since normally this would have involved an instructional designer, a subject matter expert, a media developer, and coordinating all of their schedules and making sure that they had the bandwidth to work on it. And then there'd be, iterations of it, testing, go back, make it better. And maybe it would be done in 6 months to a year if everyone constantly was pushing it forward. But I was able to do this by myself in about 3 weeks. And that can cause some anxiety for people. Well, oh my God, what are we going to be doing? I can say that in this particular instance, I don't think that this replaces our media developer, but it frees him up to do the things that this cannot do. Like our media developers are really good for problem solving, architecture, figuring out best practices, troubleshooting. But when it comes to, making something like this, now that I can do this without involving our media developers all the time, how much more content can we create that could not have been created before? It's pretty incredible. So that is what I wanted to share with you. I've shared it. It's in the agenda. If you want to open it and go through it and just test it out, you're welcome to. I'm going to be quiet now, and please ask your questions so we can answer. Philip says it doesn't take your job, it just allows you to focus on what humans do better. I agree. Maybe someday it will. I don't know. I hate to say that it's not going to. We just don't know the future. But I think right now, as long as you continue to learn and stay on top of it, I think you're going to be okay. Any questions for Emily and Ashley while they are here?
Mahua, did I pronounce it correctly? I saw your hand up.
Yes, you did. My question was for Sharon, based on what you just made, do you use Maestro at all? Because I know a lot of people working with Articulate, especially Rise, use Maestro and therefore f feed in code for the look and feel of Rise. And
Is
I
it,
guess that was before the AI component picked up in Articulate.
yeah. Is
So
that is it a product by Mighty? Is that right?
yes, yes,
Right.
that's the one.
I have not used it. I heard about it last year. I am not sure what its unique qualities are that are not replaced by stuff like this, but I think that it is more possible to do more customization than it was in the past. The Create with AI feature in Articulate Rise allows you to create very quickly the very bare bones of a
Okay,
course. It
okay.
doesn't do anything like, oh my gosh, but it does save a lot of time and like just giving you that structure.
That's
So
awesome. I mean, I didn't get to work with the AI component of Articulate at all, so I haven't got to experience it, but I'm sure one can do a lot more now. So,
yeah. So Emily and Julie are both former participants who got jobs in the last year. That's last in the last year, Emily? Last
I
year.
started in May of this year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's awesome.
I know.
5 minutes left and no questions. Also, if you don't have the paid version of Canva AI, I do believe that you can still use the free version and test it out. Like everything else, it's just throttled and you can do less, but it is so powerful. I have noticed, thanks, Dana, it's good to see you. I have noticed that it limits you to like 4,000 characters in your prompt that you put in it. So sometimes I've had to like break it up into like two prompts, but I've always been able to create what I've wanted to create. So Julie says she's only about 3 weeks in her new role. Congratulations, Julie. Wonderful. Any other questions? Or did everyone do such an amazing job in breakout rooms that you don't have any questions anymore? Which is fine. If we want to, we can end early if we're all good. We don't have anything.
I have a quick question,
Sure.
Sharon. The old recordings from previous sessions, where can we find
Yeah.
them?
I will put the link into the chat. I have a YouTube channel. The funny story behind it is I once upon a time started it thinking, maybe I'll teach English online. So that's why it's called Lucky Frog English, but I just never changed it. I was like, I don't want to make another YouTube channel. I have too many of these things. So that's why it's called that. So let me grab the playlist here.
While Sharon does that, I just want to share that I dropped my LinkedIn URL in the chat. So
Thank you.
if you all do have questions after the session that you didn't get a chance to ask, please don't hesitate to connect with me, and I'd be happy to continue the conversation.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That is the playlist for this year. They're all there. If you go to that channel, you'll see the other ones, including me teaching English, if that's interesting to you. But it is funny to see how some things pick up like 5 years later. People are like watching me talk about WH words and questions? Okay, that's fine. All right, everybody. I think it's probably good to go ahead and end. I appreciate Emily and Ashley for being here tonight. It was wonderful listening to your advice and your stories. I so appreciate you being here. Please join me back here on December 2nd. And if you want to leave me feedback on tonight's session, you can do so at this link. Feedback form. You're welcome to share your thoughts with me, and I'll see you back here December 2nd, post Thanksgiving. Have a great night, everybody.
All right, thanks everybody. Good night.
Thank you.